I guess maybe the best thing is to check in on the knee house first. Is that the best thing to do first?
That would be great. That would be fine. Mm.
So, see those three notes in a row that are top notes right there?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So we're trying to get those accents on those.
Right. Okay.
And then the tongue cut off. The end of that first line.
Okay.
Make sure you get that one. Be sure you get that tongue cut off on that. Uh-huh.
Every time I do that.
So that thing we just passed. It's an interesting line because each note's a top note. You got to tongue the upbeat. Then you can slur the third note. Then you got to kind of ghost the bottom note.
I'm
Yeah, yeah.
struggling with trying to get any sort of ghosting. So
Yeah.
my tongue doesn't want to really want to do that. But
It can be done another way. I mean, I see a lot of people with their jaws just going like crazy. You could do this. If you pull your jaw back like the doo-wah, it'll actually soften it. The most effective way is the half tongue. We talked about that, the half tongue.
we've talked about it, and I saw it in your video. Kind of a
Yeah,
sound.
yeah, it's an N. Dodden, dodden, which it sits on the reed so lightly that it just muffles it. It doesn't stop it.
Yeah.
You have to have good support behind it for that. But that's just the tongue doing that. I'm blowing the same the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it on there really light. If I put it on a little harder, then it stops it. That way it just kind of muffles it. That's perfect for ghosting. See, my tongue's on the reed part way.
Yeah. And
Pardon?
it's not the tip of your tongue, right? Is it?
It is. It's the tip.
It is a tip. Mm,
Yeah.
That's. I think I've been trying to invert it somehow, and I've been making it way more complicated.
Oh yeah. No, just right on the tip of the tongue. It's not where you. I would touch the same no matter whether I'm half tonguing or not.
Okay. All
It's
right.
just how light it touches. It touches very lightly, so it doesn't actually stop the reed from vibrating.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that's something that takes a while to perfect. Even saxophone players struggle with that quite a bit, so
Right.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. But that's what should be going into that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's going pretty well. Sometimes the tongue cutoffs don't really get cut off, or at least it doesn't sound like they're cutting off. And I
Yeah.
don't know if I said this way or not before, but I tell the students you can't get full credit for a tongue cutoff unless your air pressure is all the way up still when the tongue hits. Otherwise, the air gets part of the credit.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I definitely am not getting all the credit then. Definitely not. So
Yeah. Did- How far did you go with this? Did you do a little bit of number two or not?
I haven't been looking at number two now.
Just number one. Okay, good. Let's keep going with number one then. I'm just trying to pace.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay. Doing a little more slurring here. This is a tricky place for slurring, and you're doing more than you can get away with. Because you got to tongue the first note of the phrase, and you got to tongue the second note because it's an upbeat. Then you got to tongue the next note because it's back to the top note of a contour. So you really have to tongue everything. Now I am, if you could do the half tongue, I am doing the half tongue on those upbeat notes. Because those are ghosted notes.
Right.
But either way, you got a tongue. Whatever it is. Yeah.
That was better, but I think I can do it again.
It sounds good. It's sounding good. So this sounds like it just turned around backwards. Did we just turn around so that the upbeats are like downbeats and the downbeats are like upbeats?
Something isn't quite working.
It
And
felt like it turned around backwards.
that's probably what it was because I had a doo-wah and it wouldn't there's a doo-wah there at the end, but it wouldn't fit in what I was playing. That's probably what happened. Here we go. That really doesn't want to work well right
that whole
now.
that whole bottom stack might need a little bit of help. That sounds like it's not speaking because it's
Yeah,
not
it's not.
sealing.
It normally works better. It normally works better than today. So.
Yeah, yeah, good.
I get I get excited and I go too fast and my brain won't keep up with the tonguing that's required.
Yeah,
I have it all marked in, but I
okay.
get focused on the notes. So I got to remember to slow down until I'm ready to speed it up. But
You're doing good though, Jeremy. You're getting a lot of good stuff in there. It's good.
thank you. Thank you.
I think it's coming together. I think you're getting to where you could actually even pick up a horn and say, "Hey, look, you got to do it like this."
That's what I'm hoping is to get to
That's
that
the
point.
idea.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could help you with that horn because it sounds like it's really fighting you a little bit on the
yeah, I'll
stack.
get it. I'll try and get it taken care of. Take it in.
Let's see. And second one, Sorry, I was doing this from memory or by ear. I should get it out. Let me grab the book. What I want to point out here, and I don't think, have we talked about this term springboard notes yet?
We have not.
Okay, I think this is a good one for bringing that out, and you'll find this in chapter 8 of the jazz book.
Okay.
Springboard, what I'm calling springboard notes. And this exists in all of them, but this has just really got some good examples of it right here. Here's what I mean by a springboard note. It's like an early note in the phrase that if you hold it long enough, it will springboard the whole rest of the figure to swing properly.
Okay.
If you don't hold it long enough, it'll springboard the whole rest of the figure to failure.
Right.
So, for example, that B right there, of course, I'm kind of on the F sharp when I first start too, but length. That F. Now, look what happens if I don't hold it long enough. All of a sudden, nothing else works.
Right. Yeah.
It's what I call a springboard note. And you would be amazed what this does when you're working with your band, and you simply take everybody, take your pencil out, and let's define where the springboard notes are. And the way I'd mark them is just with a big fat tenuto.
Uh-huh. Nice and
Just
long. Put
put that tenuto on there, and see if I go. So I held the B extra time. If I go, it's not going to swing properly. But if I go, now where do these springboard notes typically happen? 4 places. One, the beginning note of eighth notes. When you have an eighth note line, the first note, or first of 4 notes, and also the first of 2 notes, like on this third major, that E. So, and also the F. Well, the G is sorry in this case. If I don't hold that G long enough, it just isn't going to swing.
Right. Right.
And there's nothing, if you do that, there is nothing you can do to make it work. You just hope that you can make the next phrase work, because that one's gone. It's lost.
Yeah. Okay.
So the springboard notes are something you have to get on the front of, but the first of 4 notes, or the first of however many eighth notes, and the first of 4 notes, first of 2 notes, first of 4 notes, first of 2 notes, and then the note before syncopation, do dot dot, which we have on the last measure of the second line. How long is that B? Last measure. If I go, everything after it was early.
Yeah.
Because I didn't play it long enough. If I play the B longer, all of a sudden everything swings rhythmically.
Right. Yeah.
Do you hear the difference?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's subtle, but it's not subtle at the same time. You know, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so and then anytime you have a doo-wah, the do, even though it's a softer note, is also a longer note. It's a springboard note. So like the first measure of the second line, right after the triplet. How long do I hold that A? See? If I go,
Yeah. It just ruins it.
sorry, I got my fingers tangled up. There's a doo-wah. So really, all the downbeat notes are really longer notes than the upbeat notes. And then there's certain ones, though. If you just lay on those certain ones, it seems like it sets the pattern, gets you off on the right foot. All the rest of them work.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. It kind of defines defines the swing almost.
Yeah. I'm going to go on. These are all do-wahs, so I'm going to lay on those down. I'm going to play a little bit faster. Now I've been playing it slow, but listen for the springboard note and see if you still hear the relative length of it. So see, my tempo doesn't really alter that thought.
Yeah, it's still definitely there.
I still have that little bit of extra length. Now, of course, it's all relative to the tempo. I mean, they're not as long as they were when they were really short. And went really slow, I mean. But they're still much longer than you expect.
Right. It seems like the best way to really get a feel for that is probably just listening to jazz.
Yeah.
Good jazz players.
Yeah.
That do that because yeah.
So I don't think too many people use that term, but that's my term, springboard note.
It makes sense. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's like a magic trick when I have the band take out their pencil and I say, okay, let's define where the springboard notes are. Put a tenuto on these notes. And when I get everybody thinking about the same note with a little extra length on the same notes, the band just starts to really come together and swing.
That's cool. Yeah, and it just unifies it, I think, when they're all thinking about the same spot. So
yeah. We haven't talked a lot about triplets, but when you have a triplet, you can slur over the triplet. Like the second line. I'm slurring the triplet.
Yeah.
But then I got to tongue the A because it's a do and a do-wah. No. Look at the last line of the whole thing, though. I actually did the slur the way it was written. You can slur over all those notes.
Okay.
You can also tongue more if I wanted to, but I can actually slur all that triplet stuff. Where eighth notes, no way. You can never slur more than two notes.
Right. But with triplets, you can.
Yeah. So maybe work on number 2 and really focus on the idea of springboard notes. And if you haven't looked at we did it right now. You don't need, but the video for chapter 8 would have some in there about that, some demonstration about that too.
Yeah.
You know, the All-State Etude that we had this last year for the All-State Jazz Band. I always have yeah, that was based on the changes to take the A train, and I had all the kids marking in where those springboard notes were so they could swing, because I knew how almost everybody's going to play it.
Yeah.
Which would sound like this. I know this isn't the piece, but everybody's going to play it like that. So you're not going to play it like that. You're going to play it like this. Completely different feel.
Yeah, very different feel. Yeah.
And it's just so subtle. It's just that extra length on those certain notes.
Right. Yeah. But it definitely
that's a pretty big deal. When I work with an ensemble, I use that concept quite a bit because it really helps the ensemble to get unified.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which reminds me of another concept that we wouldn't ever have any probably good reason to come back to, so I'll mention it real quickly.
Yeah.
Let's say that you've got a section solo. Let's say it's a sax solo, and the section is playing in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're playing in unison, then everybody has the same top notes of contours, and everybody's should be playing the same things the same way, right?
Yeah.
But what happens when we put everybody in harmony? Now, some parts might be going down, like the lead alto part is hitting a top note of a contour, and the second tenor part is like hitting the lowest part of his contour.
Oh, right.
Or the second alto might be hitting a lower part of his contour instead of his upper part of his. But I'll tell you, it goes a long ways for creating unity in the section sound if you get everybody to accent in the same places. So,
Yeah.
in a sectional or we're all right, guys, take out your pencil. I'm going to tell you, lead alto player is saying this. Get out your pencils. I'm going to tell you where to put the accents. And then is everybody marking the accents where they're on the lead alto line? They're naturally there on the lead alto line. They're not natural to some of the other lines. In fact, sometimes they're very unnatural and it's really weird. But that's what has to happen is those harmony parts have got to accent the same places as the lead part.
Okay. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Because if they were all accenting in different places, it would just make it sound muddy.
It doesn't sound cohesive, but you get everybody actually in the same places, and it's amazing how far that can go to making the section sound united, tight. So work on number 2 for next time, and we'll see.
Yep, will do.
Number 3 is one of my favorites in the book. It's really fun. In fact, while we're there, let me just comment on it in case you want to start with it. But look at the same issues here. So I'm going to put the A as a long note. G is a long note. Just touching in now and then like that is what keeps it swinging. I don't think we mentioned this concept. Can you tell the E flat sounds like a bluesy note, a blue note? We're actually an A minor on this, and the E flat's like the flat 5. It's a blue note. That kind of sound. Anytime you see a blue note, you inflect it. You put a little bend on it. Look how long I held the E. Now look what I'm going to do here. The C has to be enormously long. It's the do and a do-wah. And then the D, which is going to make all those syncopated quarter notes come later in the beat. It's also a good example of really getting it to swing. Mm-hmm. But it's a great example of those springboard notes as well. And then just that other thought right there that I don't think we talked about before, but a blue note should have an inflection on it. It shouldn't be played clean.